Good evening from the Rooster Inn Observatory. The big question on my mind tonight is, will we see the moon? It's supposed to be a full moon. Obviously, DWARF is the only telescope capable of watching the clouds. I am hoping that somewhere in there we will see a break in the clouds and see the full moon, the snow moon. We're not tracking anything yet. Hello, Sydney. There is the moon. Haha! And let's see if DWARF will track it. Let's track it again. Okay, that's good enough. And let's see if we can adjust the exposure so we don't have so many moons. Okay, I have a full moon. Yay! That won't last, but at least we got the full moon. And I got my 30 seconds so I can stack it later. Sydney, that active region 3590 had 24 sunspots in it. I was able to take some pictures this morning. It looked nice. How could you look on the back? Don't tell me it's Soho again. I ordered a neutral density filter, a white light filter for my 11-inch Celestron. I ordered it from Thousand Oaks. It should be here in a couple of weeks. That will give us some serious power to look at sunspots. Ladies and gentlemen, if you just joined us, it's cloudy out there, and I was looking for a 30-second break in the clouds to get the full moon, and I got my 30-second break in the clouds to get the full moon. There is a good chance that we will see it again soon. Clouds are broken all over. Temperature outside 45 degrees, that is 8 Celsius, expected to drop to 11 degrees overnight. The scope is no longer tracking. Those clouds look very nice zoomed in on the telephoto lens. Sydney, have you decided if you're going down to northern Ohio, northwest Ohio for the eclipse, or are you going to watch it on YouTube? Did you see, by the way, the exciting landing on the moon last night? Looks like the moon is about to break from behind the clouds. There it is. Let's get back to tracking mode and then we can adjust the exposure. Track the moon, yes. Thank you. exposure. Out of focus, there we focus it. Stand by. Okay, that's more like it. Not really, but that's the best we're going to be able to do today. We're gonna give DWARF a chance to stack on its own. Yeah, right. Never mind. Let's see if it's gonna come back out of the clouds again. There is a good chance that we will see the moon again. Alright, here it comes again. Looks like we're going to have clear sky for the next couple of minutes at least. The weather forecast for tonight promises that we will not be able to image any deep sky objects. If I had tried to use Stellina or Seestar to find the moon tonight, with all these clouds around, I don't think either of them would have had a chance. Thanks to the two camera system on the DWARF, we are able to look at the moon. Yeah, this has been a very strange winter. Earlier this week, I took off the tarp that was covering the dome with the big scope. Since we have turned the corner on the coldest temperature of winter, it's just going to get warmer now on average. And I was extremely surprised and pleased that the scope remained polarly aligned, did not go anywhere, the tripod, the mount. And that's how I was able to image Jupiter during broad daylight. Sydney, you should have seen my reaction when I told the scope to slew to Jupiter. That's the first thing I did after I turned it on, after turning it on for the first time in about 2 months. And lo and behold, there was Jupiter smack in the middle. Fuzzy, out of focus, but there it was. The cloud should be moving in again. Yep, there they are, marching on. I tried looking for the Odyssey space station that landed on the moon. Actually, the capsule that landed on the moon. Tried looking for it with the DWARF, but could not see it. Yeah, the seeing is very, very poor right now. Thank you for reminding me of a necessary disclaimer. The appearance of ads on this channel does not constitute my endorsement of their content. YouTube provides free hosting and free streaming. I don't pay for storage, I don't pay for bandwidth, and they run the occasional ads. I think it's a fair trade. Some of the ads are non-skippable depending how much they're willing to pay for the ad. I have seen some 15-second and 30-second ads where there is no skip. The only skip is close the video outright. They give us, I mean, in fairness, YouTube gives us the ability to choose or block certain categories of ads and to determine the when and the where and the what the ads appear. But we do not have the choice of saying absolutely no ad. If you subscribe, or those who subscribe to YouTube Plus or YouTube Premium, whatever they call it, they don't see ads. So you pay for the luxury of not seeing ads. Looks like we're going to have clear skies, judging from the from the wide angle lens. We're going to have clear skies for at least a couple minutes. What is TBH Lux Life? Ah, okay. Well, we're expecting a very, very sharp drop in temperature in the next couple hours. Okay. Yeah, I gave up on watching the news. I gave up on watching TV a few years back. I think we have a TV somewhere under the pile of clothes in the living room. So tomorrow night the weather forecast calls for a clear night. Good evening, Alan. Or is it good morning already in Dundee, Scotland? You're looking out of my window. This is exactly the way the moon is oriented right now. Yeah, DWARF is not rotating it, and I did not rotate it. Hello, Jacob. How is Wisconsin this evening? Alan, I have a question for you. At your latitude, do you really get any dark skies during summer? I lived in Manchester for 3 years, and between sunset, by the time the sun is 10 degrees below the horizon, it's about to rise again. So Dundee is further north. Are you able to do any astronomy or astrophotography in the summer? Right now, with snow on the ground and the moon in the sky, it feels like daytime all around me. By the way, I hope you guys will join me on April the 8th. Right now, I'm lining up a full complement of telescopes. If all goes as planned, I should have a 16-inch Meade in a big observatory with a neutral density filter on it, so we can zoom in on the sunspots all day. We will have an 8-inch Meade for visual observation for the folks coming to look at. Good evening, Charles. DWARF is expected to track the sun all day. If I have my druthers, I will mount the DWARF high up and go live around 8 or 9 a.m. and let it track the sun all day from 9 to 5. My Lunt LS50 hydrogen alpha will be looking at prominences, filaments, facula, whatever H-alpha can see. And then the Seestar will be there as a backup. I am under the illusion that I can see a comet 12P Pons Brooks during the total eclipse. Aloha, Kathy. We're only missing the Kiwis and the Aussies at this point. Kathy, we have cloudy skies, as you can tell from the wide angle lens in the corner up there. I don't know if you're looking on your big TV or not, but this is the cloud situation around the moon. And the forecast is for a cold front to move in. We had 45 degrees earlier today. It's gonna be dropping to 11 by sunrise. Since we have a few minutes of clear sky, I'm going to attempt going astro mode and trying to use DWARF's new feature of stacking. The moon is going to shrink suddenly when it starts stacking. We will stretch it back up. It's going to look very ugly initially, but have faith. Both Seestar and DWARF introduced this feature in their latest firmware upgrade. And that is the ability to do live stacking. Oh well. Depends if you're grading on a curve or not. Looks like the clouds do not want us to do any more stacking. I just wanted to demonstrate the new feature. We're gonna go to live. It does not look very pretty right now. Good evening, New Jersey. Well, you have to go back to literally the end of the 19th century, when British astronomers started using plate solving and physical stacking of glass frames of the same target so they can improve the signal to noise ratio. I did not expect to do any imaging tonight, but I was intent on getting at least one picture of the moon, of the full moon. And it seems to have been going on for about an hour now, on and off with the clouds, so I'm not complaining here. The forecast for tomorrow night is crystal clear skies all night. So I will have a full agenda of targets. My big priority tomorrow night is testing the 11-inch to see if it'll plate solve and if it will track. And if that is the case, I want to use it for the first time for the HOIS project. Try to image the star creation areas in the Milky Way. I have been using Seestar, so going from a 2-inch aperture to an 11-inch aperture should give us about 26-27 times more light capturing capability. And I'm anxious to see what that does to the results. Ward, sorry I missed your comment earlier. I'm using my two fingers to zoom in and out. I'm literally stretching the image on the tablet as opposed to using any zoom capability provided by DWARF. According to Astrospheric, right now transparency is poor and seeing is poor. That is the worst combination short of totally cloudy. Yeah, dew point is literally 100%. Right now, humidity is 100%. Temperature and dew point are the same. couple of weeks ago, DWARF was able to find comet 62P Tsuchinshan in skies like this, and it was able to stack it despite the clouds. The packet discard rate was very, very high, but still got a good view of the comet itself. Kathy, yes, Venus and Mars have been chasing each other for a while. Let me verify. Yes, Venus and Mars are going to be very, very close to each other tomorrow morning at sunrise. Mars will be to the right of Venus, or if you are staring at them. And right now, Mars will be, from my location, azimuth 117 and Venus 116, so they're going to be just 1 degree apart. I don't know if my sky will be clear enough to get after them. Venus magnitude will be -4, Mars will be 1, so both will be very, very clearly visible to the naked eye. Battery is draining rapidly in the cold, so I'm going to find a power supply and plug it in. Sorry about jerking the scope while trying to plug power in it. Big question here is, will it go up or will it go down? It shows that it is charging 41%. Let's hope it goes up. 42. Okay, that's good. Sydney, don't mind me. I want to conduct an experiment and see how well it stacks in the presence of clouds. Or not. Notice that with the new firmware upgrade, the capture and the stacking are two separate processes that run in parallel. The camera grabs as fast as it can and then tosses them into a bucket. And then the processor pulls them out one frame at a time and stacks them as fast as it can. And I have seen some significant disconnect between current and stacked, especially with the deep sky objects. That is one beautiful thing about the histogram. This is not bad at all. It is stacking despite the clouds. I don't know how they are doing it. We're starting to see some incredible details on the moon. For tomorrow morning, Seestar's field of view is too narrow to get both Mars and Venus in. Stellina is going to be hopeless also. My best bet, my only bet, is going to be DWARF. With its 3 degrees field of view, it will have no problem having both Mars and Venus in the field of view. The weather forecast is calling for clear sky at 6 a.m. tomorrow. So fingers crossed we'll be able to get the conjunction. We're also predicting a International Space Station path at 5:30. Okay, we're gonna save this image and then go back to live capture. Save success, thank you. Reset. Save again to see if there is a difference between the two. Go back to live and get out of astro mode. and stretch the moon again. Jacob, I have not tried putting Seestar at an angle yet. My other concern with Seestar is by the time Mars and Venus rise in the morning, there will be no stars in the sky. So plate solving is not going to work. I would have to move Seestar manually. Considering that the gears on Seestar are made out of plastic, I am hesitant to stand them at an angle, at a 90-degree angle, when they were supposed to be standing straight up. I'm talking about the azimuth gears. I don't know how well they will handle the weight. Okay, clear skies for another 2 minutes. What do you have that weighs 1,000 pounds that you want to track the sun with? By the way, if you look carefully at the moon, you will see what we refer to as the mineral moon. You can see the uranium, the grayish, bluish seas, as opposed to the brownish. You're trying to use the sun to generate energy, to do work with it. Okay, not just image it, admire it, and watch it. If you can see my cursor, this is the Sea of Tranquility, grayish, and right above it is the Sea of Serenity, which is brownish. Apollo 11 landed somewhere down here. And yesterday's landing was somewhere down here. So Odysseus landed near a crater called Malapert A. Okay, let's see if we can find it. Malapert A is the south pole of the moon. Next question becomes, how far is the south pole? From the Tycho crater. The most exciting thing about the moon landing yesterday evening was the stock market. Intuitive Machines is publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange, and as they were approaching the moon, and Mission Control made a last-minute decision to have it to do one more orbit before descending, the stock plummeted, and then when they lost communication and they were rebooting and reloading software, the company cap went down by about half. And then as soon as they landed on the moon and they said, "We have the moon, we landed," the stock shot up straight through the roof. It is the first time that a publicly traded company landed on the moon. The Tycho crater is very close to the South Pole, but is not the South Pole apparently. I communicated with Professor Froelich today to make sure that I finally got my data in the right format. Did you see my short video, my 11-minute video on how I process and submit HOIS data? And second question, are you able to submit your Stellina data to them? If the weather forecast holds for tomorrow night and we have a clear sky, I was talking to him about Seestar data. Don't know if I told you the story that they found that their database was corrupted. And after a lot of investigating, they traced back the corruption to my data. So he emailed me a not so nice email. I have fixed the problem since. I was manually editing the type of filter. Thanks to the Python script that reads the data directly and breaks it back into its red, green, and blue constituents, I no longer have the problem with what filter to submit. So I submitted a whole bunch from the Pelican Nebula last night and the Elephant's Trunk Nebula, IC5070 and IC1396A. and I just wanted to make sure that he was good with them. And he emailed right back saying, yep, this is good data. My next step tomorrow is to image one of the hoist targets with the 11-inch Celestron and see if I can process those data and submit them. But right now I am tickled pink with the real-time stacking that DWARF is doing. I can see the Pyrenees Mountains very clearly. That is what I plan to do. I'm going to try to split Stellina into RGB. Right now, for whatever reason, the FITS files out of Stellina, the Python script is refusing to read them. It just gives an error message saying unrecognized file format. So I don't know if I'm going to have to edit the headers manually and whether that's going to mess up the file. It is work in progress. My ultimate objective is to use the 16-inch telescope up at Oswego to take hoist images and submit them. This picture of the moon is looking pretty nice. With the Seestar and the Python script that calls onto serial and astropy, I finally have a repeatable process and the ability to do things systematically. In the grand scheme of things, I should be able to put the Seestar on a target, leave it alone, and then use some other scope to have fun and image the skies. And I have settled into a routine of stacking 1 hour worth, regardless how many frames they end up being, and then moving on to another target. They are approaching 110,000 images submitted. The project has been going on for 10 years, and they are very close to 110,000 images. I don't expect too many people to buy the Celestron scope. The Seestar folks were at an astronomy expo somewhere in Europe this weekend, and they were in booth 88, and I don't know if that is a Freudian or subliminal message about their next telescope. I was expecting it to be in 80, but if they go with an 88 millimeter, that would explain the rumors about an S80 or an S85 or an S88 scope. Okay, I am back. I hope you are ready for an interesting and a good surprise. Okay, it does not want to play with me. Be like that. Okay, this is my 11-inch. I'm gonna go down and take a look at the Tycho crater. There she is. Now my main objective for tonight is to test the plate solving on it by going somewhere away from the moon, hopefully, and seeing if it will plate solve. So big question here is, how far do I need to go from the moon without going too far? Let's see if it'll go to Alios, Dubai. And now we need to increase the gain to the max and quick picks. Well, it looks like it found Dubai without any trouble. Wow. Let's go with 1 second. I don't know if that's gonna work. It did not solve, it found only 8 sources. This is way too bright, and they're not in focus. Okay, let's focus on focusing. I want to get one of those stars that is visibly out of focus and try to see if I can focus it. That is one of the beautiful tools with sharp cap. We have connected the focuser. We're going with 10 stops. Focus scan. It will move the focuser automatically, looking for the best position. As you can tell, the star is getting sharper and nicer. Says the star is too bright. We can make it a bit darker. Looks like we found our best spot at 17,830. Yep. See, it tells me where the best score was. Okay, go to the best score and let's move on. Okay, stop it. 17,830. All right. Done focusing. Let's now try one more time the plate solving. Okay, 11 stars should be plenty. No, that is a 17830 is a totally arbitrary count. Right, the next big question is, do we have any of the hoist targets in sight? Well, the moon is going to be too bright to allow us to do any serious work. I'd like to capture, even if it is a few frames, just to see the format. Excuse me. Let's see. 1333. Nope. 2068. That is a possibility. Nah, it's too far south. 2244. Nope, 2068. Uh, 2264. Okay, I'm going to accept the fact that we don't have any that are visible right now from here, but there's no shortage of targets around us. Let me see if I can go to M99. It's way too low. Whoa. Too low. Yeah, the moon is wreaking havoc with the sky tonight. Will it let us look at 65? Messier 65. We're not going to have luck tonight with imaging any galaxies. Yeah. M51 maybe? It will certainly be away from the moon. Six sources will not be enough. I mean, there is the galaxy, I see it. I can certainly move to the middle. The next big challenge is to go down on gain and go up on exposure. Let's see if 30 seconds does the job. In the meantime, let's see if PhD 2 wants to play with us. It's not happy, that's another story. Okay, I should put an end to the futility of trying to image a faint galaxy when there is a full moon literally out there. Back to the moon. I think we found the moon. We certainly did. I cannot look at the sun right now. Somebody's not happy. Two somebodies are not happy. Let's do some imaging. Actually, we cannot zoom out at all with this one, but if you want me to zoom out, we can zoom out with the other one. Is this what you mean? We have stacked 305 frames on this one. So I'm going to unstack it and go back to live with the full moon. No, these are the Pyrenees Mountains, and the blue lake is somewhere in there. So I'm going to attempt the new feature. I don't have much hope that it's going to work properly, but I'm going to try it. what this is. I think it's trying to stack. Never mind. I'm going to capture a few frames and then stack them separately. There we go. I believe this is the Copernicus crater. This is interesting. It was capturing at high speed and filled up the buffers. Up here it shows how many frames it's still trying to write to the hard drive. Okay, let's go through a quick exercise. See if we can stack what we just captured. Files, open. It's asking if it's monochrome. No, it's not. It is Bayard. Huh. This should be it. Nope. Okay. Register and analyze. Select the pattern. And I'm gonna just stack 20%. Analyze. This program, AstroSurface, is a combination of Deep Sky Stacker or AstroStacker and Registax and Photoshop. If you want to spend $1,000, I would buy a Seestar and save $500. Thanks, Sydney, for the trivia or the data. Okay, now we look for the stacking. As soon as we're done with the stacking, it's gonna take us to an editor. We can do some, there we go, edit. Adjust the levels. We could align the RGB. And then go to wavelets. And this is where we can reduce the noise. And look at high frequency, low frequency wavelets as needed. And then go to the low frequency wavelets. That should be good, and then do all. That's what we ended up with, and we can save it. Okay. This is the live image. Yeah, I don't have the luxury of clear skies tonight. We had a small break in the clouds. I'm still trying to get my 11-inch working. I do have I'm looking for the Odysseus that landed there yesterday. But in the meantime, we still have the moon there. The full moon on dwarf. And we're going to be losing it soon. This is the Copernicus crater, and there is the Tycho crater. This is nice. This is definitely worthy of a 30-second capture here. I went with a very large, very fast RAM to be able to store as many frames as possible. It's unable to write directly to the disk, so it's capturing them at 50 frames per second. As soon as it's done, up there it has buffered 900 frames that it's going to move from RAM, from memory. It used 1,000 frames, it's going to move them to the hard drive. I use that extensively when I'm trying to capture the International Space Station. I capture as fast as I can into RAM and then move it onto the hard drive. In the meantime, I don't touch the computer, I don't do anything while it's moving from RAM to hard drive, because it gets very flaky if it tries to do context switching. "30 frames to go." Okay, we're done capturing. Uh-oh. I'm liking the edge of the moon a lot here. Let me capture a few. I did not try to look at the blue lake, not tonight. Seeing is bad and transparency is bad. I could try to go up and try to take a look and capture some. The blue lake is in the Ina crater. As soon as it's done capturing, we'll try to go to the inner crater. Okay, let's go to the inner crater. Uh-oh. There we go, there it is. This is where the blue lake is. I don't know if you can see the cursor, but the blue lake should be right here. I don't know that we're going to see it. It's right here. I'm gonna do a quick capture. Oh, the Farmer's Almanac makes it a snow moon. They went about naming all the full moons, and they named this one the snow moon, just to make the people down in Australia wonder why it is a snow moon on the hottest month in Sydney. Roman swans, as soon as it's done saving it, we'll try to stack it right away and see if we can see any shades in there that suggest a blue moon. Sorry, a blue lake. Alright, we're done. Astrosurface. Files. Open. Moon. This should be the one. We're going to focus on this area. Sydney, during the last Apollo landing, Apollo 17, as they took off and they were orbiting the moon, they saw blue blue stuff on the ground. They took pictures. Turned out to be a very uranium-rich piece of land. Looked like a lake. It was blue. They named it the Blue Lake. So it is not an illusion or an aurora. The main reason a publicly traded corporation landed on the moon yesterday is the moon is so extremely rich in minerals that anybody who's able to log the moon or mine it could become an instant trillionaire in no time. Well, the current trip, I don't think it's expected to come back. You know, somebody asked about the restaurant on the moon. Food is great, but no atmosphere. That's too dark. No, cancel. Trying to make sure that the color channels are properly aligned. Let's do that again. Do all. Now okay. Let's go to the wavelets. Reset. Back to the lake. So this is what we have. I don't know that I can see any blue in there. possibly a touch here. Yeah. I can see it. Right here. At the tip of the arrow. Roman, here's the blue lake. I'm gonna remove the arrow. It's that tiny thing here. See it? It's a bluer color than the rest. I wish I could play around with individual colors here. View channels. Just a reminder, gentlemen, that this is a brand new camera for me. I used it for the very first time earlier this week, and tonight is really the first time I'm capturing data with it. So there is a steep learning curve here, but I'm happy we were able to do this. All right. I'm gonna wrap it up, close the big dome, and then wish you all a good night. I'm gonna see if DWARF can still see the moon from where DWARF is. Nope, DWARF lost the moon. Yeah, the clouds are moving in on us. Okay. I better go down and close the big rig before I regret it. Yeah. The clouds have moved in. All right. Okay, gentlemen, I wish you a good night. Hopefully tomorrow the weather will permit, tomorrow night will permit us to get some hoist targets. In the meantime, so long from the Rooster Inn.